Mold in school, sick children, and questions left unanswered by the school system. Now angry parents in Howard County say they think the problem isn't contained to just one middle school.
Well, Kelly, the school system promises that the air quality at Glenwood Middle is, quote, fine. In an email that went out earlier this month, the county added another school to the list, saying isolated instances of mold growth were found in an elementary school. But parents worry it doesn't stop there.
We do have a question and answer time at the end.
That's great, but right now, this is a community forum, and I'm sorry I'm going to ask the questions.
More than a month after parents spoke up about a school they called toxic, concerns still linger.
It's almost like they just want us to forget about, hopefully we forget and kind of, but I'm not going to forget, because now I have a student who was affected, so it's even more, I'm digging my heels in more now.
Vicki Catronio says after realizing that mold had been a problem at Glenwood Middle, dating back to when her 11th grade daughter was a student there, an issue she was tackling head on became personal.
For most of the summer, I was just an advocate. I was just advocating for people. And then, you know, starting at the end of August, I became one of those parents, and it's a little more emotional for me now.
Her daughter suffered from nearly a dozen sinus infections in a single school year while at Glenwood. And when she moved on to high school at Glenell, Catronio says it didn't get much better.
She's like, there's the athletic hallway, the locker rooms, there's just something, she feels it when she goes in there.
She's developed 2 sinus infections so far this school year.
I started looking around when I would go to pick her up and stuff, and that's when I started noticing. I just looked up and there's mold on a tile. There's black mold.
She sent the InFocus team several pictures of what she thinks is mold at Glenell. We sent the photos to the Howard County Public School System, asking for a comment and questioning if mold was found at Glenell. They responded, quote, these tiles were changed and the source of the water leak was corrected. We're still waiting on an answer as to what exactly was on those tiles.
You can see the leak. And you see black stuff starting. What is that then? What is it? Dirt? You know, there's water damage and then there's black stuff. So how can they say that's not mold?
Earlier this month, an email was sent from the principal of Pointers Run Elementary to the Pointers Run community, saying in part, several isolated instances of mold growth were recently identified in several locations in our school. It goes on to call mold growth minor and says it was immediately cleaned.
It's absolutely important for us to make sure that all of the parents have the information that they need and that they're comfortable sending their kids to school.
Catronio argues that the communication shouldn't be kept to the individual school. She says the district should be informed.
There's no continuity of communication. Like, nobody knows what's going on in each school, and Pointers Run has no idea what's going on at Glenwood Middle, and we don't. So there's no, they're just hoping that it stays compartmentalized, I guess.
The school system says it's doing everything it possibly can to make sure all of its buildings are safe. Communications Director Rebecca Amani-Dove says health room visits at Glenwood are on the low to normal side, with about 30 visits to the nurse daily.
We are asking parents that if their children are experiencing symptoms and they're not coming into the health room during the day, to let us know. If they're going to see their primary care physician and they are concerned about something, let us know so that we can have that information and work with the parents to make sure that the children are healthy.
The school system is monitoring environmental conditions at Glenwood and says the spore counts inside are at lower levels than spore counts outdoors.
At this point, I don't believe we have mold issues at any other schools, but we do always monitor our buildings on a continuous basis, and when there is a leak or something that may cause a mold issue, we are rapidly responding and following our protocols to make sure that the buildings are safe for kids.
Still, parents question the safety of aging buildings and the marks they're leaving behind.
That's the main issue, is health, and one kid is one too many.
The school system says environmental experts came in and did a thorough evaluation of Pointers Run Elementary and worked on a plan to make sure all mold was taken care of. They're now looking at the HVAC system and making adjustments to make sure humidity levels in the building are low. Catronio says she'd like to see an independent environmental investigation done by a company that parents choose, and says parents should be able to walk through the inspection as well.